We are tracking 5 purchases by 3 members, both sides of the aisle, both houses of Congress.
Lawmakers had a summer of spending on AI investments.
Fortunately for these members of Congress, they bought into the stock ahead of time.
MarketBeat's Thomas Hughes shares a list of 5 stocks members of Congress are buying in the AI boom.
I think AI will be a catalyst for this company. There's a high expectation for increased spending over the next year.
What insights can you gain by following the money in Washington? Tom, it's so great to have you back on the show covering another important area, and that's what members of Congress are up to in the market this summer. Let's talk about 5 stocks they were trading in August and September that really show members of Congress are also leaning into the AI revolution right now. What's the first stock on your list?
Well, yeah, that's United Health Company. And it's just an example that Congress is really taking advantage and paying attention to the application of AI and how it is going to be unlocking revenue and earnings for companies long into the future. United Health is really well positioned to apply AI to healthcare, very large data-driven, customer service-oriented industry. So, well suited towards AI optimization. Right now, what we're tracking are, 9 trades in the last 90 days by 5 members, both sides of the aisle, Democrats, Republicans, representatives, and senators.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at this one as an AI play. Let's talk a little bit about why this kind of falls into that category.
Healthcare is incredibly data-centric. There's all the record keeping, there's all the testing, there's all the diagnosis. And then as far as United Health goes, there's the insurance and the cost and the managing the cash flow. So AI is very well suited to all of those things, analyzing the data, tracking the data, managing the data, getting the data where it's supposed to go, using the data for the best outcomes, both for the business and for the consumers. That's good for consumer satisfaction. It's good for revenue growth and for earnings and margins. The margins is incredibly critical right now because UNH's stock price has been down pretty hard this year, partially because of cost pressures and margin pressures. So it's nice to know or to think that it's going to have, or that it has an avenue to improve its margin over time. And I think that the congressional purchases are affirming that outlook, especially noteworthy right now because the stock price is down so low from where it was last year. Right now, I see the market forming a bottom, and that bottom is also backed up by some other sell-side factors, including analysts and institutions. So really looks like a pretty decent time to buy this stock.
I think the one last point on this one to make is that we usually do a Congress video every month or so, and members of Congress have been buying the dip on United Healthcare for months now, since when the stock first dropped. Does that mean that the turnaround is just taking longer than people are expecting? What are your thoughts on how long members of Congress have been buying this dip?
Well, I think it's interesting that they've been buying it since the sell-off began. As far as bottoming goes, it just takes time. Bottoming is a process. Some stocks rebound quickly, others take a little bit of time. UNH is probably in that middle range where it wasn't a quick rebound and it's not a long turnaround, but it is gaining some traction today, and I see this stock moving higher by year's end.
All right, Thomas, a good first one to look at. Let's look at the second stock that members of Congress are buying right now that has a tie to the AI revolution.
Yeah, that second one is JP Chase. And JP Chase has recently outlined a plan to become the leading AI-powered bank. They want to be completely AI powered throughout their system, which is fantastic. Another industry well suited towards AI optimization, all about numbers and efficiency, finding the best returns for the business and for consumers. So I see this really helping them long term, helping them to not only reduce their own costs internally, improve their efficiencies through operations, help attract and draw and retain customers, improve their outcomes, just all a bunch of tailwinds for the business. As far as congressional buyers go, we're tracking 7 purchases from 2 members, including 1 independent and 1 Democrat. Ro Khanna has done most of the purchasing, but both of the buyers were pretty significant, pretty established positions. Definitely affirms the long-term outlook for this company.
Well, let's talk about JP Morgan in general. What have the financial sector been doing in the market over the summer and leading into the fall season? Do we expect to see any catalysts coming for these companies? And will AI be a big catalyst for a bank like JP Morgan?
Well, I think AI will be a catalyst for this company. What I've seen in the stock price over the summer is it trending higher. Right now, what's happening to me, from my perspective, is the Fed and its long anticipated soft landing is kind of happening right now. We're transitioning from this rocky period where we're looking forward to some tailwinds developing because of lower interest rates. JP Morgan has been benefiting from higher rates. That benefit's going to diminish, but at the same time, the benefits from strengthening consumer trends and business trends will offset it. So I think that we're kind of shifting from a high interest rate, good JP Morgan environment to a pretty strong economy, good JP Morgan environment that will just help sustain this company's profits and uptrend for quite some time.
So much growth ahead for so many companies because of all of the investment in growth in AI right now. I know the first two companies on this list aren't what you traditionally think about with AI related investments. The next three names you have for us on the congressional buying data are definitely more traditional tech companies or AI companies. But if you're looking for more of the biggest names in AI out there, don't miss Thomas's full report on his 10 best AI stocks to buy for 2025. This is a really interesting report. If you haven't checked it out yet, again, Thomas put together a list of 10 of the best AI stocks to buy this year. Make sure to scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this video to get that free report right now on MarketBeat.com. All right, Thomas, let's move on to the third company you're watching members of Congress buy this fall.
Yeah, that's Uber. Uber is really a fantastic story. It's really kind of a new technology, but there's kind of two sides of this coin. There's the legacy Uber, which is just the ride sharing and the consumer services company, but there's also the new emerging Uber, which is this AI company, this self-driving vehicle company, this platform for like robo-taxi company. And within all of that, Uber is growing. It's producing cash flow. Its cash flow quality is improving. It started buying back shares pretty aggressively. It's reducing its share count. That's providing lots of leverage for investors. And we're seeing that in all the activity. We've got, Congress members buying the stock, but also analysts and institutions. All those trends are very strong. As far as the Congress members go, we're tracking four members. They made six purchases in the preceding 90 days. We've got that same independent trader, plus Republicans, plus Democrats, each making multiple purchases, really showing some strong support for the stock.
Now, this is an interesting company that has a lot of growth on the horizon, not just in the typical rideshare service. I know there's some partnerships out there with air taxis, which I know the government has been getting involved with the air taxi development in the US. So talk about, do you think that has anything to do with this, or is it just the strength of Uber's kind of core services? Maybe automated vehicles have to do with this as well.
It's all part and parcel to the whole outlook. Uber is very well positioned to connect riders to whatever kind of ride-sharing services there are, which will include automated vehicles and air taxi services. Take that to the next step. There could be automated air taxi services where there's not even a pilot and it just shows up and takes you someplace. But as far as the evolution of transportation and services, Uber is very well positioned for this, building out its platform, making its partnerships, and preparing to capitalize on it as it develops.
All right, very good. Let's move on to the fourth company you have for us today that you're watching members of Congress buy.
Right, that's Advanced Micro Devices. And that's really an interesting story because these purchases really affirm what we've been saying all along, which is that AMD is well positioned for the data center boom. It's just waiting to be able to reclaim the share that it lost when NVIDIA came to the forefront as the first mover. So that market share regaining will happen next year when it launches the MI450 line of chips. But we've just gotten a new deal announced with OpenAI for tens of billions of dollars worth of these chips, sent that stock surging up more than 30% in one day. Like I said, tens of billions of dollars of future revenue into the outlook, and that just aligns with what we've been talking about. Fortunately for these members of Congress, they bought into the stock ahead of time. But in my opinion, that news really just affirms an outlook, puts this stock on track to potentially double from its highs over the next few months.
Yeah, like you said, members of Congress timed these purchases well. Most of these purchases were in September, late August, so timed it well on AMD. But we have been talking to retail investors about getting in on AMD, waiting for a jump just like the one we saw earlier this week. Let's talk about how much more room AMD could have to run from the highs it's seen.
Quite a ways, right? So we've been waiting for this news to come and kind of affirm that AMD really has this potential to service the GPU market the way that NVIDIA has. The way that the demand structure is set up, the amount of demand in excess of what NVIDIA is able to meet means that Advanced Micro Devices could grow by like 800% or 1,000% in a single quarter, and there still be unmet market. So, as far as AMD's stock price goes, it really depends on how quickly it is able to capture those sales. But I think it will be pretty quickly. It's already starting to happen. So, I would not be surprised if we don't see Advanced Micro Devices stock price double or rise 200 to 300% from these highs that we were just recently broken over the coming quarters to, year and a half.
That's a lot of growth ahead for this company. Interesting to see Congress also buying into those big tech boom companies. A lot of the buys that we see have to do with these chip makers out there, the big tech stocks that everyone's buying. Members of Congress are buying too. This list is interesting because we're looking at some of those unique plays that also tie into the AI revolution. So let's get to that final stock that you have for us. AMD is definitely a part of the AI revolution. What's this fifth company that members of Congress are looking into right now?
Well, that's Palantir. We've talked about this company before too. It's well positioned for the application of AI, servicing governments, but also the private sector. We are tracking, 5 purchases by 3 members, both sides of the aisle, both houses of Congress, showing broad support that has been ongoing for the last several quarters, 2 years, helping to drive the stock price higher. Right now, the analysts view it as kind of fairly valued near these highs. But the trends are very positive, and the revenue trajectory has been very positive. So I would expect to see all of the sentiment trends continue to improve, continue to support this stock and drive it higher over time.
Yeah, this is one that has been on the list of stocks that members of Congress have bought for quite a while now, and that it makes sense because there's so many government contracts happening with Palantir. That growth seems to be there. Let's talk about what it means to continue to see strong buying from members of Congress. What does that say about Palantir's future growth and the strength of the sales coming in for this company?
Oh, well, that means the company is entrenched. It's not going anywhere. They see it as being pretty central to government operation and security, should help the company continue to grow because it will continue to get penetration into not only the U.S. government, but also our allies' governments, but also into the private sector. The private sector is really critical for this business because it is helping to underpin the robust growth outlook. But altogether, we're talking about, multiple tailwinds combining together, possibly forming positive feedback loops and helping to sustain the growth long term.
Yeah, so interesting to see Congress still buying Palantir right now. I think in general, the market, we saw a lot of defense stocks see a little bit of a boost over the last couple of weeks. Why are we seeing some renewed interest in the market in general in defense companies right now?
Well, there's a high expectation for increased spending over the next year. It's in the budget right now, and the money is being really focused on next gen technologies, particularly AI. Anything that keeps boots off the ground, people out of harm's way. Palantir is certainly one of those companies to help do that. But any business that's producing next gen technology that's keeping people safe and helping us to achieve our military goals is expected to see a real increase in government spending over the next year, and that's helping to drive their stock prices.
Very good. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for looking at the list of what Congress is buying and selling right now. If you want to explore this more yourself, it's a totally free tool on marketbeat.com. You can explore all kinds of different trades that members of Congress are making. Lots of insights to be gained here. I've got that link for you right in the comments if you want to go and explore that a little bit more on MarketBeat's website. Again, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Let us know what you think about these congressional buying videos. Do you like to follow this information? Are there other pieces of what Congress is doing that you would be interested in tracking in the market? Let us know in the comments. Thanks again for watching, everyone. As always, happy investing.